Looking at issues of volatile service delivery protests in Annandale and Eldorado Park, we join now by Tami Hukwe, a community leader, and Tunisia Phillips, a journalist and resident, or rather a resident of that area, and Lieutenant Colonel Lungelo Dlamini from the South African Police Services. As their spokesperson, and you at home are most welcome to give us a call. Good evening to you, Sir Hukwe, and welcome to ANN7 Prime.
Good evening, ma'am.
All right, so now where does this emanate from? Because all we see now is burning tires, looting, destruction of property. It doesn't seem very well coordinated with a desired outcome.
Right, well, firstly, maybe let me just sort one issue. I'm from Freedom Park, and with Freedom Park, this started in 2013 when communities started to complain about an alleged corruption on housing allocation at Freedom Park. They were houses that were developed, RTP houses that were built. And there were a lot of people, especially the senior citizens, people with disabilities, single working women that applied for the houses that were on the list, housing list. But when the houses were allocated, they were excluded from the beneficiation of the houses. But houses were allocated to young people, who most of them are coming from the ANC.
But isn't this something that you need to raise with your ward councillor, your mayor, whoever other municipal leaders are there?
Yes, we did that. We tried to engage with the city of Joburg at that time, which was under the then mayor. And then we also engaged with the MMC at that time. But there were no proper responses. We were not helped. We then went to the next step, which was the Gauteng legislature. We petitioned Gauteng legislature. Still, we were not helped by the Gauteng legislature. We engaged with the Human Settlement, Department of Human Settlement. Still, we were not helped. And then the community decided then last year, around July, to occupy a vacant piece of land that is owned by municipality. Then they were forcibly removed with violence, and the property was taken away from them. And then that really angered the community. And then the community retreated, and it only came back to that land this year on the 24th of March. But before we went to reoccupy that land on the 24th of March, on the 20th, we marched to the ANC headquarters. It was on Monday, before the 21st of March, where we demanded that we must be given a right to reoccupy our ancestral land.
As we are continuing to talk about this particular important issue, and I think it's very important to realize that communities are involved. We want you at home to also join us and please talk to us. The numbers for the studios are actually flashing right now at the bottom of your screen. If you'll please just get in hold of us, and perhaps you have your own opinion and you want to add what you have to say in the show right now. We are now talking to Lieutenant Lungelo Dlamini, who is the SAPS spokesperson. Lieutenant, top of the evening to you, and thank you for joining us. It's a very tough time for you as workers of the police and the services. Do you think that perhaps these protests have become criminal in effect and not just about the community?
We are currently dealing with the criminals who are involved in the looting, the destruction of property, and we have intensified our operation. And tonight, there are people who have been identified, and they will be going out to make sure that they have been arrested.
All right, is this a syndicate, Lieutenant Colonel, or is it just random criminality taking place, or have you identified a specific group?
It's random criminality. We are appealing to the members of the public to isolate these people. It's just random criminality. We have taken an opportunity. They see that there is a protest, and then they want to engage in criminal elements, in criminal activities.
Tunisia Phillips is a journalist and resident. Is this Eldorado Park, Annandale, or Freedom Park that you reside in?
Eldorado Park.
Okay, so Mr. Hukwe was talking about corruption being or slowing down service delivery, and we know from members of communities saying that coloured people essentially are neglected when it comes to services. What do you base that on?
Well, since 1994, I think communities like Eldorado Park, like Annandale, even neighboring Kliptown, where the Freedom Charter was birthed, basically, have been neglected for this 23 years. People have been on housing lists, but it's a repetitive theme in many marginalized communities like these. And for the most part, these protests were sparked by a disgruntled business forum who felt like there was too many tenders and maintenance contracts going to companies outside of the area, and they were not awarded to competent businesses in the area, which would create employment and obviously give a buzz and a boost to the local township economy.
Tunisia, but do you think that perhaps the community took some strides to talk to government, to engage in a more relaxed or a safer way rather than what the current scenes are in your community? Do you think that they engaged enough with councillors, with the mayor? Did they do enough to talk to them to say this is the issues that we are facing and can we be listened to?
I think what we're witnessing now is a climax. I think they're fed up with consultations. I think they've gone that route. They've had a series of meetings with council. Yeah. They've had the president visit over their issues, which is more than just drug-related issues.
Yeah.
You know, there's the socio-economic elements as well. So I think that they really are just fed up with consulting and going through the correct avenues.
Right. Right. Tommy, is there some sort of criminality that can be attached to the issues that have been taking place right now? Are there elements of idle hands taking over and perhaps maybe even though there are genuine, real serious issues underlying, but now it seems like it's becoming worse because of it's been obviously accelerated by the fact that there is some sort of crime or criminal activity involved?
Yeah, I think it was criminal for the police to come and destroy people's property on the land that we occupied and take away that property from the people that are not working, that do not have any form of income.
Was it not criminal for them to be occupying that land in the first place?
No, it was not criminal to occupy the land. But because of the current constitution that criminalizes our struggle, of course, other people that believes in this constitution, they can then say that was criminal. But for us, it was not criminal. What is criminal is the constitution that legalizes the theft of our land that was taken away from our forefathers and our foremothers.
All right, those are very deep issues, Mr. Hukwe. But before we continue, Clyde, you're calling us in El Dorado Park. Good evening to you.
Good evening, 8 and 7. And I think one of the issues...
Yes, Clyde?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for taking my call. First, I'm from El Dorado Park. I think one of the issues where we have in terms of the service delivery, I think it's about time that politicians come to the people. In one sense is that the colored community have been marginalized for many years. If you go to El Dorado Park, to Westbury, to Annandale, to Noordhoek, to Reveille, you can see there's no development. The development, if you look at currently business people don't even invest into this place. Reason being is that, one, the police are not helping the situation. There's drugs, there's alcohol. And what they've seen today by people looting is because government is giving the people an ear. Hence, people are currently today looting. They are looting shops. It's unfortunate that we do not condone looting. But people are looting because government people are sitting in air-conditioned offices. They don't care about the people. We have been looking for houses for many years. People are suffering. And when people are hungry, that is what leads to poverty. If there's poverty, everybody can do anything because poverty has no place in this country. And I think for now, our people are suffering.
Clive, we're going to leave it there. Thanks indeed for your call. Hlulani, you're calling us from Polokwane. Good evening to you.
Good evening, and good evening to all listeners.
Yes, we're listening.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, people will rise. Always where there is injustice, people will rise. People are hungry. Now, when you look at the whole situation there, the smallest business in South Africa is run by foreigners. South Africans, they don't have jobs. They don't have anywhere to run to. Then what do you expect from the people? Now, all those people who are busy rioting there, they are saying nothing there was no service delivery to them.
Yeah.
Or everything was built by apartheid era. I grew up in Soweto. The house where I grew up is still standing today. There's no new RDPs in Soweto. Let us not point fingers to any other person, but the system itself. People want houses from who? Let us create jobs for our people. Let us protect our citizens. No other foreigners who must come and own general dealers, spaza shop. What are South Africans doing today? Nothing.
All right, Filana, we're going to leave it there. So essentially saying we need protective legislation or reform to policy to insulate South African business and to take care of home first. But let's just go back to Lieutenant Colonel Lungelo Dlamini. The allegations made by Mr. Hukwe here saying that the police in essence perpetuate the system that is already volatile.
Just repeat that question. I couldn't hear properly.
Yeah, no, he was saying that the police perpetuate a situation that is already volatile by forcefully removing people and also damaging their property.
I don't think so. I don't know which property was damaged, but when those people were removed from the land that they occupied unlawfully, I think the police were carrying out their duty. And we are appealing to the members of the public to voice their complaint in a very peaceful manner, not to involve in violence.
But how do you balance the two, Lieutenant? How do you balance making sure that there's law and order at the same time without exasperating the situation as it is so tense in those communities?
I don't believe that the police has increased the volatile situation, but the police, while they are there, they are maintaining law and order. They are making sure that other members of the public have freedom of movement, making sure that the property of other people are not being broken, and making sure that they sit in the community.
Yeah. Well, we are happy to be joined by Tami Kapalki, who is the advisor to the Minister of Human Settlement, Lindiwe Sisulu. Tami, top of the evening to you, and thank you very much for joining us. You are talking to us at a very sensitive issue. We've got community leaders here in studio with us. We've got the SAPS also talking to us. How is it that we have this situation 23 years after being promised housing for those people and making sure that they are occupying those particular houses and they have ownership? Here they are going out in the streets, creating chaos, burning tires, and they have only one person to blame, and that is the administration, and that seems to be falling on your lap.
Well, I think it is very unfortunate that our people are still reeling under the same yoke of poverty 23 years later. I spent 2 days in El Dorado and in Edidale. I saw for myself the plight of our people. It is very true what the other speakers said on the panel, that there is no development in that part of the world. You remember that Edidale and El Dorado fall under Region 11 of the city of Johannesburg. And these are the poorest regions in the area. It covers areas like Lowley, it covers areas like Orange Farm, Fine Town, Drizzy Park. The unemployment rate is unbelievably very high. The economic base does not even exist. That is why you find crime, you find drugs, you find all other problems that even the president had to come last year to come and deal with. What we have done today is to meet with the community, is to get as much information as possible, and to send a report to the minister and to indicate that, Minister, it is high time that we get the MMC involved, get the mayor involved, and get the MEC so that it should come back in the next 10 days. That's what we've promised the community, to come with a roadmap on how to deal with the problems of housing, especially also dealing with the backyarders. There are many people who indicated, told that plus minus 7,000 people are on the waiting list. But houses are given to people who are coming from outside the area, especially in a small place called Meriting. So there is a commitment from the minister. That is why we came there, to see for ourselves, to intervene and to talk to the community. In the next 10 days, a turnaround strategy is going to be put in place to try to see how we can assist in the interim.
All right, Mr. Kaplaki, please stay on the line. We have Pete calling us from Pretoria. Good evening, Pete.
Good evening.
Yes, sir. What's your question or comment?
Yes, and I thought it was a comment in connection with the Kulini situation.
Well, I
Sorry.
suppose you could add that on because we're talking about
Yes,
service delivery and violent protests. So what is your
Yes.
comment or question there?
No, my view was in connection with that guys in Kulini, is that we must stand together. There was a program about 6 weeks ago where the guys were caught putting the black guys in a coffin, and that was racist. And if we catch a racist guys, lock them up. But in this specific Kulini case, there is nothing I can see that is a clear-cut case.
All right, Pete, I'm afraid we're on a different debate, but do call us when we cover that story. But thanks nonetheless. I just want to come back to our panelists here. Are you satisfied, Tamika Plaki, the advisor to the Minister of Human Settlements, saying that there will be engagement, a 10-day turnaround strategy to deal with the issues in the various areas?
Look, I started out as a community journalist, and I live in Eldorado Park, and I'm now a broadcast journalist, and I'm in the commercial space. It just so happens that the protests are now at my doorstep, but I'm very privy to the housing issues in Eldorado Park. I mean, we've seen so many financial years go by where the housing budget is underspent, you know, and government can't justify why they're underspending the development budget. And we've seen MMCs, various MMCs come through, you know, following local government elections, prior to local government elections, promising these things. But when you get to the crux of the issues, it's environmental impact assessment studies that are not completed. Those studies that, you know, verify whether the land is fit for development. And so at the very crux of this, there's a gap between either the motivation to complete these things that will see development happen in the communities, and I think that people are just starting to feel that it's deliberate.
So if you can just tell me quickly, in less than 30 seconds, explain to us what you heard Mr. Kaplaiki say, and what your understanding of what's taking place. Do you think that has there been any houses actually being built since the request of people being put on the list? And if there has, is there a perspective perhaps maybe that government can give a more firm, stern standing to say that they will continue to build?
Look, the issue here is, I think is correct on talking about the backyard dwellers, because most of the people that are occupying that land, it's people that are at the backyard dwellers in Freedom Park. And they are occupying because they are being charged exorbitant prices by the landlords, and these people are unemployed. So I think the best way that can actually satisfy us is to be allowed to occupy that land so that we become free from the exorbitant prices that were being charged by the landlords. So that's the only way that maybe our community can understand, to be given a right to occupy the land.
Mr. Kaplaki, while we have you on the line, community leaders saying, you know, it's the same story, different script as it were, because this is advice or rather engagements that they've had in perpetuity and very little else has changed.
I'm not going to disagree with that, because this is what was told to me in my face. And the community said we're sick and tired of promises. The community even refused that we should address a section of the community because we're saying we're not doing anything new. We've heard the stories. We've heard people coming here before the elections, disappearing after the elections. The exasperation of the community is understandable. I do not want to say or to second guess them. It is within their rights. The community there is poor. Delivery does not exist. The people there have been subjected to second-class citizens in the country of their own birth. It is within their rights to express their anger the way they do. And it is within the right of the politicians to stand up and to deal with those issues. I'm not going to come here and defend government. In this part of the world, not much has happened. I don't want to mince words. Our people in that part of the world have been shortchanged. And it's high time that we do something about it. The strike is palpable. The unemployment rate is unbelievable. The service delivery does not exist. We don't have factories. People are all going to lands and going to Johannesburg. you have informal settlements such as Orange Farm. They propose almost 60% or 55% of the people of Orange Farm are unemployed.
Yes, you've highlighted the problems, but very quickly, Mr. Kaplaki, just to, I suppose, appease the communities and to call for calm, all of that, but a commitment to ensure that at least budget allocations are spent where required, that the issue of graft and corruption would be eradicated, and that lists will be transparent and go to the rightful owners or beneficiaries.
The minister met today with the MECs in Cape Town in a mid-MEC meeting, and she is extracting commitments. She has to supervise the implementation of budget. Business plans have been approved. It's a new financial year, and she must see to it that monies go where they're intended to, and that monies are not underspent where there is a greater need for people. So the action plan that the minister is going to come up with will try to make a difference. Remember, she's now coming from a national office to intervene in a local matter, whereas there are local leaders who should have done that in the first place. But she's not indifferent to the fact that there is a delegation of authority. But on this case, she wants to directly get involved and to see how we can assist.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tani Klapaki, there, the advisor to the Minister of Human Settlement, Ms. Lindiwe Sisulu. And we want to thank all our guests, Mr. Tami Hukwe, and also Tunisia Phillips, and also the Lieutenant Lungelo Dlamini talking to us there. And we really appreciate their time. It's time for us now